It's Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. He is Garland. I ain't even got to say nothing. All I got to do is point at it. But anyway, we aren't here for that. Today, recorded version of Queen Sugar discussion. And today we'll be discussing season 6, episode 7. They would bloom and welcome you. Last night's episode, which I thought was actually a great episode. But before that, what's going on, Garland?
I'm feeling great, man. Got that tight haircut from Reflection Eternal up on St. Paul Street off of 25th. I'm feeling good, son. Got a little B.I.G. He hit me with the little black up around, give me the extra crispy line. Even though I still got a line, it's a lot of gray up there. After I wash this tomorrow, it's gonna be right back to the way it usually is. Yeah, man, I'm feeling great.
You got Beijing. Next thing I know, you're gonna be heel towing out here. You know what I mean? Philly cats and stuff.
Yeah, I gotta wear some gaiters. I'm gonna do a full body shot, so I'm gonna have some gaiters on, a 5-button suit, the whole shebang bang.
Hey man, that's great. I'm gonna give y'all a little background. Garland is usually like, I'll be around. I'll be on about 15 minutes later, But then all of a sudden he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be on time today." He had to show that fresh crispy. You can't even wait the 15 minutes. He was like, "Let me get this fresh crispy up here." He probably was ready to get on at 4:30.
I'm like, yeah, I'm real good today. I'm gonna make sure I'm straight.
Hey man, let me get into Queen Sugar so we can make this short for the people. Hey, I usually have notes written down and ready to talk about things, but last night's episode I thought had one overwhelming theme, and I'm going to feed off of that theme throughout our whole discussion. And that theme is consequences. It seemed like every character in there faced some sort of consequences. So let me get started. First, let me start off talking about my guy Micah. So, Micah, we're proud of him. Did you see him? He was hugging his homeboy, and the other guys came and he gave him an extra look and got him in there a little tighter because Micah doesn't care, and I'm still proud of Micah. Micah, I see the look. You should get. Listen, I'm going to stick with Micah doesn't care. Micah cares about his homeboy. He don't care about what anybody thinks. But with the theme of consequences, let's talk about Micah and his professor. His professor basically dissed him. She was like, "Hey, it was fun while it lasted, little boy. You was looking for more than I was, and it's over." So Micah come. He started throwing his knowledge. She started throwing some questions at him, and he answered them like he on CNN, just killing it.
Right.
And then after that, she all like, "Yeah, Micah,
what's up?
I'm a little impressed, dude.
I'm a little misty down here.
They're going to touch him and celebrate it." Micah was like, "Nah, like you said, I've grown. I'm good." What you think about that, man? What you think about Micah turning down the older Wu-Tang?
The Wu-Tang. I'm sure in the back of his mind, maybe, because he did have a look for a minute, like, whoa, hey, whoa, like, but it shows maturity, and it shows that, hey, you thought I was a child, but actually, I had a lot going on, and I think he made the right choice. But of course, she was clear. I just want you as a play toy. I want you to knock my boots every now and again. Blow my back out, and you can get this A. And I think he chose a high level, which I think is good for him because it shows that, hey, I am a mature person. I made good decisions, and although I felt this physical thing with you, I chose better because it's just good for my mental health. Yeah, because he was falling in love. He was getting caught up. He was really getting caught up on that, and I think his boy helped him take a step back, and even seeing that in the action when the dudes walk by the room and he Mike could give the extra look like, yeah, let me give you the extra hard hug. I'm seeing that he's just like, hey, I don't care what people think. I'm in control of what I do. And he definitely showed that by turning the professor down.
Yeah, and like she said, Micah, you've grown, and yeah, we can all see that Micah has grown. He's
Right.
matured, and gotta be proud of Micah. There's
Hmm.
still some question out here. Clearly, Garland, you still have some questions about my man Micah, but I'm starting to like Micah. I'm starting to like Micah. Let's jump to my
Before
guy.
we jump to that, Calvin, I mean, okay, that's your man's and all, and I understand. You accept your man. You don't know if he gay because really he has not come out and told you that he was gay. But to me, I don't know. His behavior, Micah's behavior is kind of borderline. Like, is Micah also interested in him? Because the way that he's acting towards old boy, makes you kind of raise your eyebrow a little bit.
So, like I said, let's jump on to
All
let me
right.
jump over to let me jump over to my guy Prosper and his daughter. And still
Prosper.
with the theme of consequences, we know that Jimmy Dale, she explained the Jimmy Dale
Hmm.
situation, and Prosper was just wondering, why didn't you come to me? And she didn't come because she went to her mother. And the mother just shunned her. And again,
Right.
the
Right.
consequences. She said
Right.
Prosper never came to her, and he just looked at her and treated her like she was some sort of pariah that he didn't want to have anything to do with. Like he was embarrassed. We even see that he got not finally, but he got the phone call from Hollywood talking about Ra, and he finally did, I think, what we all wanted him to do when Vi came to the house when they were eating, which is put everything else aside to speak to your child. And she seemed to appreciate that they're going to have coffee and have a discussion. But again, along the theme of consequences, they've gone years and years without having these conversations, and you can see how it's affected her and also how it's affected Prosper. Do you think Prosper is headed to a better relationship with his daughter now?
I think so. That was one of the storylines that I really liked last night. Prosper finally showed that he cared and he was putting his daughter first. And I think that was the issue for the daughter. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm here, but whenever the borderlines call, something's going on with them, you drop everything and you go to them. And seeing that his daughter had this need and seeing that he missed that opportunity to be there for her, I think it was significant. I love that he, just say, hey, look, y'all just gonna have to catch up with me. You're gonna have to fill me in later. I've got to take care of home. I got to take care of the family. Family's always first. And so I'm glad that he was able to show that. I hope they're able to grow from that. One of the things that, and we've talked about this before in the past couple of weeks about this whole Jimmy Dale thing and her mother's reaction is kind of a typical because as we said in the past episodes that a lot of times the victim gets blamed for the perpetrator's behavior, and seeing that really still playing out and her trying to work through that's some serious stuff. But I like that the fact that Prosper is finally saying I need to focus on my relationship. I need to focus on my daughter. I need to build that up. And even at the end saying, hey, maybe you can stay a little bit longer, shows that there's some opportunity there for them to grow and to learn a little bit more about each other.
Yeah, and they always talk about blood being thicker than water. And even though the Borderlones have been there for him while his daughter was gone, he
Right.
still needs to show that care for his own spouse, his own child. And we definitely like to see that.
Right.
I mentioned Hollywood making that phone call, and Vi was facing some consequences, or Vi actually delivered some consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Vi finally confronted the young lady that went
Yeah.
after Hollywood, and she had explanation. And I'm not a big Vi fan, but I have to give Vi a whole lot of credit. She didn't
Mm-hmm.
go off the handle. She sat there in that restaurant and she told her she was wrong. She still gave her some encouragement, but then at the end, Vi dropped some money on her and basically was like, "That's it, girl. Like it." And the consequences was for this. You had a woman that extended her job, her money, her business. She gave you everything, and you repaid her by trying to sleep with her husband. And I even like the fact when she said, I tell you, Mr. Hollywood put me in my place. And she was like, you ain't gotta tell me nothing about my husband.
Right,
Like,
right,
keep his name out your mouth. But Vi
right.
dropped that money off and rolled out on it, and now she has nobody. What do you think about how Vi handled that?
I thought it was great because a lot of times, Calvin, people don't see not only the consequences but sometimes the boundaries. If our boundaries are not strong, then people just run through those boundaries, and they just violate space and relationships and all. And so, yeah, I can forgive you for what you've done, and I understand, what you're going through. But there's a boundary that you cross, and that boundary, you can't cross it anymore. We can't reestablish because, that boundary is there, and you violated that boundary. You violated my trust. And so, you know, I agree with you. Vi sometimes, she flies off the handle. She can be very vindictive in some sense, especially when she wants to have her point proven or she wants to come out on top. But I think that, in this situation, yeah, sweetie, I got to cut you off. I try to be there for you. I wish you the best. Here's a little cash to help you along the way. But yeah, you violated the most sacred piece of what's part of me, and that's my marriage. And so, I got to put you out the circle. And yeah, and I think that's real. That's so realistic.
Yeah, and there's a statement that people say that I've never agreed with, which is I can forgive, but I just can't forget. And I've never agreed with that statement because
Right,
if you forgive someone wholeheartedly, you have to move on like it never happened. Because if
right,
you don't forget it, then it's always there. And I think Vi knew she could not forget this, which means she could not forgive it. So I'm going to tell you what you did. I'm going to tell you how I feel, but I'm going to leave it where it is. I'm not getting
right.
involved with you anymore. I just can't. She just walked away. I think she realized she would never be able to forgive herself. It's just time to go. So
It's interesting because Vi haven't she hasn't forgiven Prosper's daughter. And so yeah, we've seen this as a character. She holds on to things. She's
yes,
still holding on to her anger with Ralph Angel of letting Blue go to school, letting him leave the home. And so yeah, I think it's character growth to see her be able to say, okay, I know I got to make this break because I'm not going to be able to release it if I don't.
absolutely. Now let
Right.
me let me jump over to Nova. Nova comes
Mhm.
back home. Her place is all messed up, and
Mhm.
she's an activist. She talks
Right.
about the police. She writes these books. She gives these speeches. She's definitely an activist. And there are consequences to that. Now, it doesn't mean that she's not ready, but you can see that she wasn't quite prepared. Nova was shook. What she's getting from the police, she was absolutely shook. And I think Nova realizes that, I may have people that care and love me like my family, but I'm alone doing this. It's just me.
Right.
I don't have any protection. And she really looked shook through the whole thing. And she even came out to Charlie and said, I'm not okay. And she had never told anyone about it. And Charlie came in and saw it. How do we feel about Nova right now? I know we don't like her
Mhm.
too much, but did we have any sympathy for her last night?
I have sympathy for Nova because, yeah, I think that showed that sometimes you can bite off more than you can chew in some aspect of, a lot of times when we put ourselves in the public realm, we don't realize that there's a cost with that. It might be relationships, it might be connections, and all of those particular things. And to really try to carry that on her own, I think was probably a mistake for her. Even when I mean, not Nova, when her sister called her and said, Charlie called in like, yeah, come on down to the police station. And she's already, she didn't even reveal like, hey, the police were just here. They roughed me
Hmm.
up. They had me on the ground. They destroyed, and so you got to realize that you're not in this by yourself. You have family, you have other people that are there to kind of support you and to help you through it. You're not the only one standing fighting windmills, like your Don Quixote. You can do better with that. And so I think, even with the encouragement from Charlie of, keep fighting, stay strong. Yeah, you need that voice. You need that partner that's going to help you get through that. And even look like in next week's episodes, we're going to see her kind of connect with old boy who we think is an op. So we'll see what happens.
But yeah, even and even as they always say, even the strongest people need some help
Right,
sometimes. And
right,
Nova definitely needs to start leaning on her
right.
support system instead of just being the support and being the lone wolf in her pursuit. I want to jump off of consequences real quick because there's obviously the main story in there. I want to definitely spend most time on, but let me talk about Charlie real quick because
Hmm.
Charlie had the opposite effect. Now, it wasn't consequences for her. Charlie at the end is seeking the benefit because Charlie is really the family fixer. Charlie is the
Yeah.
one with the education, with the connections. Charlie is the one that can fix everything. And like she said, she wants this seat in Congress because, and solely because, there were things going on that she did not have the capacity to solve. She didn't have the connections to solve. And she wants to get this seat in Congress because of that. What do you think about that? Is that a good reason to want to run?
I don't think so. But are you running because of a power trip, or are you running because of the needs of the people, of the community? You know, yeah, your family's going through, but are you going to be able to help the community to achieve the things that they need to achieve and to bring the legislation and the money and all of those things? And so uh, for a minute, I was kind of like, she's running out of a selfish pretense of, yeah, my family's going through and I can't change it and I need empowerment. But the community needs empowerment as well. I look at it also, you can look at it in another sense, Calvin, I guess, in that, you know, maybe she's looking at it broadly, as in these things happening in my family are also happening in the broader community. People losing their land, people being harassed by the police, basically feeling helpless. And I want to see what I can do to make those things better. And so, I think she has the gumption for it. I don't like the dude that she's dealing with. He's like, yeah, we have to see if you're better to run in Louisiana, or is it better for you to run in California? Are you up for that? Are you up for raising some monies? And I'm like, who is this guy? Obviously, he didn't work with Barack. He ain't got no soul. But you know, I want to see how these family difficulties are going to play into that, because Rod losing the farm, they got the little family history piece of what's going on. And so I'm sure that's going to definitely, and the whole thing with Davis as well. Although she tried to put that to bed when she was talking to Gail, you still got to deal with that in the mainstream.
And see, now I'm gonna look at it a little different from you. I
Hmm.
don't disparage her at all for wanting to get in Congress and help her family because that's what they do. That they get there. Look at these presidents
True,
of these colleges, of
true,
these people that
true.
have connections, and it's mostly white people, but they use those connections to benefit their
Mhm.
family. So why shouldn't she be able to do it? And I think she also looked at it. And let's jump right into the biggest consequence of all, Ralph Angel. Ralph
Oh
Angel
boy.
getting caught, getting set up. And I think she really looked at it like she did not have the capacity as what's his face? I don't know why I forget his old name, old man with the family that they
Landry.
always fight. Yeah, the Landrys to
Hmm.
set people up. She didn't have the money or the pull to set people up, to
Hmm.
get the police on their side, and to do everything that he did to get this land. And she wants an even playing field. But let me jump into Ralph Angel. So clearly I don't need to talk about his consequences. We all know what it is. I'll tell you, it took me up until I guess about 10 or 15 minutes left in the show, and I was so angry with Darla. And I was angry with Darla because she is always there wiping his nose and rubbing his back.
Right.
And he has literally destroyed what they have, and it could have been worse. She finally came out and said, I am very angry with you. He lied. When he didn't have to lie, everything he did was wrong, was incorrect, and he keeps making excuses and wanting sympathy. And I got sick of it. Kudos to Darla for not showing it in front of his family, but when they got alone, they're united front outside, but when they got alone, she jumped in it, and I was proud of her for
Mhm.
that. Well, how do you feel? I already know how you feel about Ralph Angel. What do you think about Darla?
Ralph Angel is the worst farmer in America. Okay.
And the worst criminal.
And
Now
the
he's the
worst
worst criminal.
criminal. And the worst criminal. And I liked what Hollywood said to him. You chose to do this, knowing the
Exactly.
consequences. And I think, Calvin, that really spoke also to a thing of this conversation we always have in the Black community about responsibility. You know, a lot of times we want to say, yes, a lot of things that happen in our community is because of laws and because of, racism and those things. Those things are real. We can never discount that. But also, there's another level of sometimes our personal choice to do things that we know are contrary to what's right. Um, there was a guy, Munir Bahar. He had started this 300-man march in Baltimore, and he had started this campaign. Let's stop killing each other. Stop killing us. And he got a lot of flack over this because he was approaching it from the angle of confronting people about making their choices. It's about your choice. It's not the man. The man didn't make you shoot somebody. The man didn't make you rob somebody. You made that choice, and you need to stop making those choices. Let's stop killing us, which is true. We need to accept a personal responsibility for our part in what happens in the community. And I like the fact that Hollywood confronted him because, yeah, Ralph Angel, you got a child on the way, your son's away at school, you got this farm. Yeah, you're dealing with some debt, like you always are, because you don't know how to manage a book or bring in the harvest. But to think that you could get away with this, and the fact that you've already been to jail before and you decided to make that decision again, it's dumb. You got to take responsibility that, yeah, I put myself in a situation where I have to take this choice. And so, yeah, he's going to get bailed out of it probably. We got 3 more episodes left. Something miraculous is going to happen. Somebody going, maybe Blue will come back with a check or something. He called Blue down in Georgetown, getting his life or whatever, out having fun. And, he calling up, hey, it's your old man. Leave Blue alone. Leave Blue. No, Blue ain't going to rub your back for this. All right. Stand up, be a man. You messed up, and there's a consequence for what you do. There's an action for every action. There's a reaction.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad you brought up what Hollywood said because when he said it, I almost stood up and clapped. Like,
Right,
I was like, it's about time somebody is not holding Ralph Angel's feelings. Like,
right,
he
right,
literally messed this up. And Hollywood was like, racism, yeah, unfair, yeah, but you did that. You stole
right,
that shit. Hey,
right,
man, it didn't
right,
get much more real than that. And I appreciate it. And he also looked at Ralph Angel and said, all these women here are willing to give up everything for you. And he's still there trying to talk about, I'm a fight. You know,
right,
these points that he was making would have been valid before he went out and stole from the Landrys. You knew you were doing something wrong. Like you literally, yeah, Vi, you told me to be a man, and my man gonna go run and ask for help and this and that. Well,
yes,
you would have to be, sir. You would rather do something and go to jail, go back to jail. Now, here's your choices. You either go back to jail and they still risk losing the farm, or you lose the farm and stay out of jail. Like, I mean, you
Yeah,
don't really have much of a choice.
it's an aspect, and I was just thinking about that. It's an aspect, Calvin, of toxic male masculinity. It's this: we can't ask for help, we can't get assistance from family members and stuff. We gotta hold it all inside and do all these things. Man, he got payday loans and another loan that he couldn't pay back. That should have been sign enough that you needed help. That should have been sign enough to say, I need to ask the people who I know can help me for help, because I don't want to do anything to jeopardize my own freedom and the freedom of my
Exactly.
family. And so that's definitely a trait that Ralph Angel has to deal with. This, I got to do it my way. I got to do it the man way. Your way is failing, my friend.
And they need to do something about his decision making, because beyond everything else, he's not making the right decisions for this farmland, for anything. Like, he is literally the brokest person in the family. The brokest. I mean, he could have been working at Boz Pies. He could have helped Nova with the book. Shit, Charlie is a millionaire, bruh. A
Right,
millionaire.
right.
I
He's
don't understand. I don't. Even Darla is ready
right,
to bail you out. Your wife, if there's any time that you can swallow your pride, you can
right.
definitely swallow your pride in front of your wife. Your wife was willing to help bail us out. It's not just you, it's us. And that's Ralph Angel's problem. Ralph Angel's decisions, he says the decisions are all about us and the family. No, his decisions, like you said, are toxic male decisions, toxic masculinity decisions.
Right,
He's thinking about, how does this look? How can I get this better?
right.
You just got out of jail some years ago. Everyone knows that you're not going to hit the ground running. You need some help, sir. And he
Yeah.
was doing well. He was doing very well. Yeah, I
Calvin,
just
he fell into an asset. You fell into land. You got an asset. Your daddy died sitting in the chair while Blue was playing with him. You fell into an asset. Just all you gotta do is manage that asset,
that's
and
it.
he can't. Yeah, that's it. And he
That's it.
cannot every
That's it.
season. Every season the crop fail, and he's taking out loans.
I'm still waiting for him to catch him from season one when he robbed that convenience store. They still ain't
Right.
caught him doing that yet. I'm still waiting for that camera footage to pop up. If
Landry got the
Fred
pictures.
stole you out and everything,
Landry
Fred,
got the
his
pictures.
homeboy, yeah, man, it's just bad. Landry set that thing up.
Yeah, Landry, like,
Landry
yeah,
set that thing up.
I I'm tired of fighting. I'm just ready to take this.
He
Yeah, so he
Landry got slick on him. And they even tried to threaten him with poison in the land. Landry was like,
right,
I'm not here for your idle threats. Basically, either sign the paper or what. And Landry went to him, was like, I just want to make sure we good. And then when he started talking about it, Ralph, you don't care about my daddy. Landry was
right.
like, yeah, you're right. I
You're right.
I don't give
You're
a
right.
fuck.
I had the papers in about 4 or 5 days. Peace.
Hey man, I thought it was a really good episode.
Good
Really
episode. Good
powerful
episode.
episode. It showed a lot of depth for a lot of the characters. It gave us a different look. Again, Micah is maturing very well. Nova was starting to see her vulnerability. Hollywood stepped up. Vi kind of humbled herself.
Right.
Prosper humbled himself. We saw Charlie feeling like, man, I'm not doing enough for the family. She's doing everything. I mean, Darla stepping up. It was just a great episode, and I really appreciate it. Now, next week, it looks like Vi's jumping back into some health issues.
Right.
As you mentioned, Nova and her neighbor are going to start getting into it. We'll see what goes on. Of course, the whole overline theme is what's going to happen with Ralph Angel. That's the
Ralph.
always just
I want to see Blue. I want to see Blue this season. That's bring Blue back. Blue is the person that make his father think correct. I don't know what it is. Blue. He need Blue.
Blue gonna come back. He was playing with Blue's dog, calling Blue up. Blue was out there talking about astronomy and stuff, looking at
Calvin,
stars.
Blue did this. He saw the phone ringing. He's like, hold on, who that? Oh, it's my daddy. Ignore.
He was like,
What he want
man,
now?
what this John doing calling me? Hey Mo, this John calling
Right.
me. That's my daddy. We
This
getting out
John.
of here.
Yo, let's
Go to
go
the
get.
go-go.
Yes, for real, John. Giant. Let's get out of here.
Hey man, it was a real good episode. I'm glad we got to discuss it. Don't forget to join us Monday when we jump into Insecure, episode 2 of the final
Yeah.
season, and that is going to be live, so everyone can
Yeah.
comment. And then it'll come back around to Wednesday, and that will be episode 8 of Queen Sugar season 6.
Mhm.
So until then, man, hey, good discussion, great episode. We will see you all shortly. Once again, this is All Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin, and that's Garland.
Crispy forehead. Go ahead. Got the crispy lineup. Y'all be safe.
Hey,
Holler
be
at you next
safe. See
week.
y'all later.
Peace.